are listening to the Detector Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the latest technological innovations that are set to change the world. I'm your host, Scott Hickman, and in this first ever interview episode of the Detector Podcast, I will be discussing how to democratize vision care through AI with CEO of XP Health, Antonio Moraes. So why don't we just start with you telling me a little bit about yourself and about XP Health, the company.
Sure, and congrats on the new show. Very excited to be here. Um, my co-founder James and I we met at Stanford a few years ago. He's a machine learning engineer. I'm a business by training. I was a venture capitalist focused on impact investing before coming to Stanford. So I've been investing in healthcare for a few years before meeting James. James and I, we were very excited about applying AI into healthcare. He came from Facebook and Airbnb. So we joined forces to create XP Health, basically because we want to democratize great experiences into healthcare for 1 billion people. That's kind of our crazy goal that we set ourselves for the long term. So, yep, we're just in the beginning of this journey.
Great. So why don't you just tell us a little bit how XP Health democratizes vision benefits?
Sure. So, James, my co-founder, when he was at Facebook, he had access to some of the best benefits out there, right?
Mm.
Including vision benefits. Supposedly, they should be really, really great. But every time that James went to buy glasses or contacts, and he wears both, he was spending more than $300, right? Every time. And the experience was very clunky, very fragmented, never great. More recently, we found out the satisfaction when we run the satisfaction surveys with people about their vision benefits. The satisfaction is actually negative, is around minus 25 when you think
Oh,
about the
yeah.
net promoter score. So that's why we decided to create the absolute best experience for people when they're buying glasses, buying contact lenses, and then getting an eye exam as well.
Okay. So your company works with AI, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So why don't you just explain sort of how you use AI to help democratize vision benefits, how AI fits into your company?
Sure. So the biggest reason why people tend not to buy glasses online is because you're afraid if the frame will fit your face or not, right? So
Yeah.
most people, 95% of them actually, they prefer to go to a physical store and then try on maybe 20, 30, even more frames on your face, right? Only 5% of people are getting glasses online. So we created a face scan technology that basically tracks your facial dimensions. It uses computer vision and deep learning to do that. Uh, and then basically the recommendation engine, like Netflix, works to recommend you the best frames according to your face shape. So when we look the clients that we serve, actually 90% of them are now buying online. Only 10% are they need or prefer to go to a physical store. So we completely flipped that equation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's great. So do you think that other vision companies might end up adopting AI technology?
I think so. I think eventually the when we think vision benefits, it's an industry that is dominated by a few very very large players. They have not been very focused on technology, I would say.
Yeah.
We imagine that eventually they will um, pro- potentially not develop themselves, but they will start to buy external technologies um, to make something like what we are doing available to their members as well. That's why what we believe.
Okay. And what has been the most challenging aspect of starting a business in health technology, do you think?
I think traditionally, healthcare technologies, the hardest part is the regulatory side, going through FDA. But we are a tech company. We're purely software and service, so we don't need to go through FDA. So that's the really good part. But definitely the
Yeah.
most challenging thing for us is that we started the business actually a few years ago doing on-site vision care. So basically, we would bring a local optometrist, an eye doctor, to large companies. Provide We were providing the exams, bringing the glasses. We were already using the early stages of our AI technology to recommend the best frames for you. But we were doing this live inside companies, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, when COVID 19 came, the pandemic in March, we were completely disrupted. We went down to zero in revenues and we had to
Oh
completely
God. Yeah.
reinvent the business. That's when we started creating the platform that we have, which is a software as a service platform right now.
Okay. So AI has always been part of the company. You just used to do it in person, and now you've made the software to be able to do it from the comfort of your own home.
Exactly. That was the biggest, I think, advantage for us to reinvent the business was on top of an early technology that we already had for the in person, on site service, right?
So presumably, then the pandemic has really accelerated your activity. Then,
By a lot. No, we grew multiple times since we launched. We actually launched the platform in October 2020, and we've
okay,
been growing 300% per quarter since we
wow,
launched.
well, that's great. And so, since you started XP Health, who do you think would be the most exciting client that you've landed?
I think one of the best vision benefits that we've encountered, the best company in terms of benefits, has been DocuSign, and we launched with them a few weeks ago. So they're close to 5,000 employees in the US. So they are absolutely phenomenal, and we've seen a very high utilization across every client, but with them as well.
Okay, and so I had a look at your website and your company, and I was wondering, how do you get top designer glasses down to such a low rate for customers?
Really good question. So we created a model that we buy directly all the frames, all the lenses from the manufacturers. So we created a vertical model, and then we provide directly not to consumer but directly to companies, which then they offer to their employees and their family and friends with a subsidy as well. So because it is a vision benefit, the companies are sponsoring part of the cost, and the other component is we completely disrupted the physical store, right? We do everything online. So we don't have the 40% overhead that physical stores have in terms of rent and staff. And that's how we make it available for really the best uh, price that you can get is through XP right now on branded frames, as you said, and great lenses.
Okay, well, yeah, that's great. I mean, almost everything now is coming over the internet, so it's great that your company is able to benefit from that to reduce the price for consumers and companies. I was also wondering in how many different countries XP Health serves. Is it just US based, or have you sort of gone worldwide?
Just the US, but we're expanding now in 2021 to other countries as well because we serve companies. many of those companies are international, so they are asking us to serve their employees and their families across the different countries. So the next very immediate, the UK and Canada. These two we already have clients pulling us to go there. So these are the next steps.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm from the UK, but living in France, so I look forward to seeing you expand there.
Amazing.
Um, yeah.
I'll send you a pair of glasses so we can test it out.
Well, I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones who doesn't actually need prescription glasses, but I think I saw you do non-prescription as well.
We do, and it was actually a surprise, but 35% of our members they are buying the non-prescription glasses, mainly because of the computer
Really?
use case, right? So
Yeah. Well, I was actually. I mean, I've just been looking for glasses, blue light glasses. Yeah, to protect my eyes because especially during the pandemic, everybody's been spending so much more time on their computers. I'm no exception. So happily, I will take you up on that offer.
yes, exactly. That's the case. We've seen people using screens for 8 hours in average or more. Sometimes people say like 14 hours every single hour in my
Mm,
smartphone, my computer, and then during the evening I watch Netflix. So it's screens all the time. Uh,
yeah, well, that's so true. I mean, ironically, just this morning, as I turned on my MacBook, I got a notification saying that last week I had an average of 8 hours a day, going up, I think, something like 20%. So, yeah, definitely more time on my screen, but
yes.
it would be good to cut down and hopefully protect my eyes.
One thing to comment, just to comment, Scott, the blue
Yeah.
light. There are no human studies showing any positive impact on from the blue light coating, the filter,
Mm,
except some very few studies with humans showing some benefit to your sleep cycle, right? Because it helps regulate the melatonin that is
yeah.
disrupted by the screens with the blue light from the blue light that is coming from the screens. So
Well, we actually we did an episode on blue light affecting your sleep. I can't remember what episode that would be. I'll leave a link in the show notes if any of the listeners want to check that out. But yeah, um, when we did that, the research for that episode, you're right, it was mainly animal studies. In fact, I think it was all animal studies.
mhm.
One, I think, from Manchester using mice.
Exactly. So the important thing for that you should get for a pair of computer glasses, in your case that you have perfect vision, is mainly because of the anti-glare coating. Make sure uh, to have it because that's the core coating that will help you potentially reduce digital eye strain, right? Uh,
Okay.
and the second, of course, is protecting against UV that mainly comes from the sun. And over the
Mm.
long term, because there are a number of eye diseases that can come because of exposure to UV, right? So
Okay. Well, thanks for the advice. I'll look into that. So now let's move on to what the future holds for XP Health. So, do you think that at one point you might start offering virtual eye exams, or maybe you already do? I don't know.
we don't offer, but it's definitely something. It's an emerging technology. We're definitely considering to offer to our clients as well. In the
Yeah.
US, there are regulatory restrictions, so it's not you cannot do really the entire refraction online. Uh, you can actually renew your prescription, um, but in other countries like Israel, they are experimenting doing an entire online refraction, which is really cool, right? It really avoids you going to if you're healthy, you don't have family history of any eye diseases, and you're eligible, then you might be able to avoid going to an eye exam in person. Of course, the online exam does not track your eye health, right? So you still need to go in person. and see an eye doctor, optometrist, or ophthalmologist for you to track and monitor your eye health. Right, very important to comment that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that would be great. I mean, if you're able to do almost all of it from your home, it's like telemedicine, in during the pandemic, that's grown a lot and it's avoided people having to go to the doctor for things that could easily be done from your home. So if you're able to do most of your eye health from home, that could be really interesting.
Exactly. I think telemedicine is one of the biggest trends that we've seen um, during the pandemic now. The numbers are staggering, the growth of everything related to telemedicine. So it's for the vision space is still something that is early and few companies are experimenting with it. So it is still a growing field.
Yeah, but it would be interesting to see it emerge in the future. So, just another question. Where do you think that XP Health will be 5 years from now?
We'll be extending beyond the US as I begin to refer. Inside the US, still here, we'll be expanding to Medicare and individuals as well. And we'll be expanding beyond vision. In 5 years, there are a few other adjacencies that we see that we're excited about. They are somewhat related to the vision space, but it's definitely going beyond glasses, contact lenses, and just purely vision benefits. It's something that
Yeah,
our mission has always been to apply deep tech and use user-centric design to create great experiences in healthcare, right? So that's where our our vision is, right? Is to go
yeah.
beyond vision.
Could you give a few examples of where you might expand into in the future?
Uh, yes, one immediate adjacency is we really feel that in 5 to 10 years, the smartphone will start to be disrupted by a new and better human computer interface. So definitely smart glasses. And when you think smart glasses, they are actually augmented vision, but augmented hearing as well. Most of the smart glasses that we see today, Amazon Echo, Razer, and others, they are not using the augmented reality features that Google Glass tried to do a few years ago, but they're actually expanding or augmenting not even your vision. They're using augmented hearing to make you interact with the digital world, like talking with Siri with your glasses
Yeah,
through your glasses, right? So that's definitely something that is the one of the interesting fields that we're looking into.
yeah. I mean, you've had a lot of rumors about Apple bringing out smart glasses. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about smart glasses at the moment. So it will be interesting to see how that evolves and how your company will benefit from smart glasses becoming more mainstream. So you said you were going to go into hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, I would say like smart hearing. But you're correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Antonio, for joining me for this episode. It's been great to have you as our first guest for the interview section of the Detector Podcast. Do you want to just tell our listeners where they could find out more about XP Health and about you?
Sure. My email is antonio at xphealth.co. And our website is xphealth.co as well. Scott, was really a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. That's it for this episode of the Detector Podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and head over to thedetector.com for articles on the latest tech innovations. You can also leave us a review to support the show and follow us on social media. We're pretty much everywhere. To check out XP Health and Antonio, look at the show notes, and there will also be a link to previous episodes we mentioned. Stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.